That's not
It's
water.
actually bourbon.
Yeah.
Need a little bourbon here
Well,
this morning to get me going.
It is 0800, so it
It's
must
bourbon
be
30 somewhere.
Yes.
So,
Crown Royal.
welcome to the
Yeah.
last cast video here for the Outdoor Line. We just wrapped up the Outdoor Line radio show here on 710 ESPN Seattle. Of course, every week, maybe every once a month, we'll put together a little video here after the show. And of course, with the trout opener coming up here in a week, we brought a bunch of our trout gear in, stuff that we used when we were kids, stuff that we use now. All this stuff is absolutely lethal for trout coming up here in a week. I brought in two of my favorite rigs here. These are my Jared Johnson Lima Glass kokanee rods right here, rigged up with, of course, nice little hot shots. These are size 70 hot shots. This is a rainbow trout pattern. I've got froggy here. I've got the brown trout pattern, perch, all the hottest hot shots. You can run them in 70s. You can run them in 50s. I like the 50s. They got a big bill on them. They dive down nice and deep. You can run them. You can flatline them. I've got one rigged up here as a flat line. I've got another one with some leader on it, up to a little swivel, with some split shot on there.
Couple splitties right there.
Like so. That gets you down. That way you've got some different water levels you're covering. This one will be up, the one with no lead on it. It'll dive down a couple of feet for you. If you run some lead on there, you can get them down 5 to 7 feet, maybe get a little deeper, cover some different levels of the water column. And they really work well. When they hit these things, they absolutely just paste them. There's no doubt what's going on. We also had Carmen McDonald on the show today from Lure Jensen. He talked about running these things with a Ford fender in front of them. About 30 inches a leader, down to your hot shot, nice attractant, brings them right in. And Tom, you also brought in some little herring dodgers. These work well.
Well, there's
also to bring in fish and kind of bring them in.
Couple different ways to look at this fishery. I mean, you want to stay lightweight, and this Team Daiwa Zillion reel. I mean it not only fits in the palm of your hand, it disappears in the palm of your hand.
Oh, it does.
This whole setup so well balanced, and we're talking ounces here, and that's going to increase your enjoyment of the fish. So while some folks like to get after it with pop gear, I like to just go a little lighter weight. So with this same deal, so think of salmon fishing and think of downsizing your presentation for that. And that's why we're looking at the Dodger setups here, either with a wedding ring behind it, okay, or maybe one of these little Gold Star mini micro hoochies, okay. And yes, I tied up some leader pipe.
Tom just takes salmon gear and downsizes it. And he even mentions salmon when we're talking trout.
Well,
but it works.
It is. I mean, they're salmonids. Now, we talked about tipping some of our offerings today with maggots, and Berkeley Gulp makes the, you don't have to go turn over some rocks or flip a dead animal over.
Go find a dead cow, dig the maggots out of it. You don't need to do that.
You don't need to do that.
You got this, and this might actually work better than
probably
the real thing
does, and very easy to find this stuff, and very easy to tip all these offerings. And you know what? I mean, catch an opening day trout, so much fun, and so many ways to get after it. But this is kind of an old school herring dodger. One of the ways that this works for you is it changes depths so much with your boat speed. I mean, even from the outside rod to the inside rod, you're going to get that inside rod dropping down in the water column because of the weight of this dodger. Then when that fish hits it, that dodger is going to straighten out. You're not really going to know it's on the line for you.
And the nice thing is, it's a nice little fish attractant. It gives it some motion, gives it some action. A lot of guys will run either a Doc Spratley or say a little woolly bugger behind their dodger. You can flatline these things as well. This is a kind of a custom little Doc Spratley that I used to tie. These are actually flies I dug out that I tied when I was a kid, Tom. That's how old these things are.
That's how deep our illness goes right there.
Oh, man. So I dug some of these out last night. Great ways to catch fish. And of course, we're talking all trolling techniques.
Sure.
That's what I like to do because they just absolutely smoke these things when they hit them. But don't forget about power bait. I mean, you can chuck power bait off the beach if you don't have a boat, and you're going to catch trout. I mean, run an egg sinker, quarter-ounce egg sinker to a swivel, 3 to 5 feet a leader. The stuff floats, so that'll get your bait up off the bottom, cast it out off the beach, and you'll catch some trout. But if I'm fishing next weekend, which I probably will be, I'm trolling. I got my Daiwa Alexa reel here, another one with a Zillion on it with some braid. Then I transition to my mono leader here. And this is about a 10-pound test leader. You can drop this down to 8, also run fluorocarbon leader, but you don't want to go too much lighter than that because when they hit these things, especially if you get a bigger one, they're going to break this right off. So keep it about 8 if you're trolling.
And you're going to see some piano drop strikes.
I
mean, and that's what, especially with the lighter rods, and that's why, you know, to deploy the flies, I will even go to a 3-weight or 4-weight fly setup with a sinking line, and then just keep that moving with the boat too. So for all you guys that are heading out there next week on opening day, make sure you get your licenses, make sure you got life jackets for the kids on board, make sure you keep them warm, make sure you keep those kids fed, and you're going to have a wonderful, enjoyable opening.
And don't forget to go to the WDFW website. The catchable trout plant numbers are on there. They have a county-by-county breakdown of what lakes got planted. They've been planting trout for the last couple of weeks. You can check out if your lake got trout plants in it and see how many fish it got. You might be able to kind of look at some of the other lakes in your area and go, yeah, you know what, I think I'm going to go over here this year, because some of these lakes will differ a little bit from year to year, and they might put big triploids in this one this year, not that one. And so get on there, check it out, and give yourself a good game plan going into next weekend, and go out and catch a bunch of trout, post your pictures on theoutdoorline.com, and maybe we'll hear from you next weekend here on the Outdoor Line.
Hope so. Remember, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Get prepared for next week's opportunity, and you'll enjoy yourself. We'll see you next week on the Outdoor Line on 710 ESPN Seattle.